Hey friend, today I wanted to give you a little tour of my interior build and my setup for living in my rig full time. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Haley and I live full-time out of my 5th gen 4Runner with my rescue dog Naya, traveling across North America. We are currently in the great state of Alaska, and in today's little rig tour and interior setup, it's going to be dirty and a bit unorganized, but that is just the reality of road life. Try to keep my space clean as best I can, but when you're go on a daily basis and in muddy, rainy conditions, things get dirty fast. So we recently did the Dempster Highway up to the Arctic Ocean, and then now we're over across into Alaska, so the rig's been through some stuff, but wanted to give you guys just a little bit of walkthrough of how I have my rig set up for living in it full time and going out on these grand adventures. Starting up front, we got the driver's side. Pretty basic in here. Got a seat cover just to help kind of protect the leather. It's waterproof, all that good stuff. Up top, I do have a bandana going across, and that holds my keys. Pretty much the moment I get to camp, I always set my keys here, so I always know where they're at. And then also, since my head sleeps up here, I can always reach over and unlock and lock my car at any point, as well as a headlamp here. So on the back side, it works as a light inside the rig, and then I can also just take it and wear it anytime I need outside at camp. Besides that, center's pretty normal. Haven't really done anything there. And then I have my phone mount for easy accessibility and being able to charge it while driving. Going over to the door, I just like to keep this side clear for trash, and then I have a little lint roller and then my screen for my window. And then going around to the passenger side up front, we got a little bit more stuff going on up here. So once I get to camp, I usually put my backpack, my work stuff, and Naya's dog food up on the passenger seat here, and then if I have anything kind of extra that doesn't have a home, it goes up on the passenger seat as well. And then usually when we leave camp, all this goes to the back on the bed. This spot, I did make sure to kind of have it leveled out for Naya, so that way she has this entire platform area to fully lay out when driving, especially on our longer drive days. It's nice her having a bit more space to stretch out. Of course, we have to have the dog toys up front for her. Obviously, this is her favorite. It's our park buddy. It's a bear. That's a park ranger. Duh. Here on the passenger side, this nice kind of towel, keep the blanket and stuff clean from Naya. And then under here, I just have an extra fuzzy blanket if we ever need it, but it also works out well to keep this kind of level, so it's nice and comfy for her. And then underneath that, we go into my little Jackery. This is the 1000. I really like having it here because 1, I can charge it from my cigarette lighter while driving, and 2, I can also run my Starlink that's mounted up here on the window while driving. Normally when I'm going across the states and stuff, I don't really need the Starlink running during the day, but if we're ever out on the back roads or when we're doing the Dempster Highway and there's no service at all, it's really nice having that running while I'm moving, so I can always keep my maps going. I have the front windshield cover down here, a lot of Naya's stuff, so her leash, her harness. I have an extra set of paper towels and some cleaning wipes, and then I have just packs in here. So this is my handheld radio charger. I have all of my camera batteries and stuff in here. Extra cords for the Starlink in case that one breaks. And then I also have my hose for the air compressor down here, and then pretty much just some extra toys for Naya that lives down here. Now going around to the back passenger area. In here, so this is basically Naya's bed when we're sleeping in the car. I do have this extra fuzzy blanket that goes either under her or over her depending on how cold it is, or we just fully remove it if it's warm. So she does have a dog bed under here, and then a little towel that just helps keep things clean. And then underneath her dog bed is my fridge. So for my fridge, I just basically made a board so that way it's level in here, and then I just use the front passenger seat to kind of hold it in place so it doesn't shift or move at all. And then back here, I just have toilet paper. Of course, being a female, you gotta have your tampons. And then behind that, I do have my bottle jack. And then I do have a water filter. These hold the clips and ropes to my awning. Always keep her dog food bowls in here. And then of course just some flea and tick spray for her. She does get treated with actual preventative, but that just kind of helps her avoid getting bit by mosquitoes and whatnot when we're out at camp. And then charging my fridge, I do have a Jackery 2000. So fridge runs off of this the whole time. I pretty much don't charge anything else from this Jackery except for my phone at night and the fan. This fan has been a game changer. This saves me so much, especially when we're camping in warmer weather. Holds its battery really well. It also works as a light, and it actually gets up pretty fast. It's also just nice to run a little bit of air even on the colder nights just to kind of help with condensation. And then this little pillow is just holding space. My Jackery will slide around and kind of bang up on that metal piece back there if I don't have it, so that just kind of helps secure my Jackery in place. And then behind this stuff, I just have a little basket. It does have a gear tie. So this gear tie goes from the basket to my molly panel in here, so it holds the basket in place because it used to fling onto my bed pretty much every time I drove. And in there I just have, this is kind of just like my makeups for when I actually ever do wear makeup. And then underneath it I just have like dry shampoo, my brush, that type of stuff. And then I usually put my hats on top here. And then this is my toiletry bag. So it has my toothbrush, my lotion, deodorant, everything else in here. And then pretty much like every other door, I just have my window net in here. For this window, I have one for every single window. This is my sun hat that just lives here. And then I have an extra headlamp back here as well. Like I said, I can just turn these on to run as light in the car, or I can always take them off to use at night around camp. Around to the back driver's side, I got my main bed area as well as my garage. So for the bedside, this is where obviously my head go. I am a pillow snob, so I do have multiple pillows here. These I usually just kind of toss to the side before I get in. I have this kind of towel blanket that runs across the top, as well as then this waterproof blanket that goes across the whole stretch of the bed. It just kind of helps keep my sheets and the underlying blankets a little bit more clean since I live on the road with a dog. She is muddy and dirty often, so when she crawls in, she goes to her bed spot, and then I pull these up and get into bed myself. I do have a lot of layers going on just because it depends on the weather. So underneath the waterproof blanket, we just have a regular comforter. It is actually the same comforter I've had since college. Pillow, and then we got this sheet. It looks rough, but the sheet is absolutely amazing. It's the best sheet I've ever had, and if it works, why replace it? So this is my top sheet. For most weather, I usually sleep on top of this, and it's really soft and nice. I usually just tuck it under here so it stays all together. And then when it is colder out, I have a king size fuzzy blanket here. So this is actually folded in half. So when it's really cold, I just basically crawl in between it, so that way I have fuzzy blanket underneath me and above me. And so far it's worked wonderful. I have slept in kind of below freezing temps, and I've been pretty much warm the whole time. And then I just have a regular sheet covering the entire mattress pad. Going down to the garage part, as you can see, I have removed my rear seats, so my bed platform does go fully out, and then all underneath here until it gets to my fridge on the other side is storage space. So I just kind of use this for shoe storage. I also have a shovel down here. My solar charger as well as the actual solar panels are back here. I have two 250 watt solar panels, and then my Coleman camp stove goes back here as well. This is my laundry bag. I have my Starlink case. Underneath the laundry bag, I do have a full tool kit. These shades up here fully cover the back and my front window, so I can fully black out everything in the rig. And then I have my camp chair here, and then underneath my camp chair I have my camp table down there. So that's pretty much everything around this side, and then per usual I have my screen for this window. Right, coming around to the back side here, obviously bed runs the whole way. I do have my drawer system, so this platform is the same one that runs all the way across. I did build the platform myself, so it's had its quirks, but for doing it myself, I'm pretty proud of it, and it's worked, so that's what matters. If you were wondering, the mattress pad that I use is just a twin XL memory foam mattress topper. I believe this one's like 5-inch memory foam, and it's extremely comfy and like a fraction of the cost of most like outdoor kind of branded mattresses. Going over here, we have my closet. So each compartment lifts up, and it's nice because this keeps it clean when I'm driving, especially on dusty roads, and then it also allows me for kind of more space on top of it. So I have my shirts, pants, and then in that one there is more of just like bras, underwear, socks, that good stuff. And then this is just some extra clothes, mostly like loungewear and whatnot, and hiking gear. Roll of paper towels, extra food because I have nowhere to put it. And then I do have this bug screen here. This fully goes across the back. I'll just kind of show you that. Basically just have a strip of Velcro along the top there. And then I just roll this guy out and put it up like so. And then that way I can keep my hatch open, and it basically goes right to the level of my bed, so I can still get some airflow, keep this open without getting a bunch of bugs inside the rig, which is huge, especially when we've been traveling through Canada and Alaska. There are a lot of bugs. This is basically just one of those regular magnetic like bug screens for like slider doors, and I just cut it in half, and it fits pretty well. So on this side of the drawers, I just basically have extra grocery bags that I use as trash bags, and I do have a full row of full-size trash bags behind that. And then on this side, I have my sweatshirts behind here, all sorts of other stuff, honestly. I have my Jetboil back here because I don't have anywhere else to put it at the moment. I have my extension cords for when I'm at like campgrounds or just need to plug in my jackeries, charge it back up. I have a like vest jacket for Naya. I have some other just random gear. Basically this whole side area is just full of storage. I also have an extra blanket down there as well. And then of course going to the drawers themselves. This drawer here is basically my kitchen. So I keep my propane tanks up here, and then I have multiple kind of cooking gadgets. So this one is for just a single burner for the green tanks when I don't feel like getting out my 2-burner stove, which I don't feel like doing often. I have a full collapsible pan set back here, and then I have the fuel for my Jetboil. In the back bin here is all of my spices. And then this bin here is mostly my dishes, lighters, cooking spray, that type of stuff. I have like collapsible bowls with lids, so if I need to put away food in the fridge, plates, scissors, knives, tongs, you name it, all the kitchen gear. I do have some extra spices and sauces here, and then some of my dry food, so potatoes, rice, Jetboil, coffee press. And then basically these 3 bins are just food. Going over to this drawer, it is a mess. It is a hodgepodge of all sorts of things. The back I basically have a first aid kit, hand warmers, Tide Pods for laundry. I have face wipes, body wipes. I have wipes for her. For her coat and stuff, she gets into something, as well as ear wipes for cleaning her ears. She is in dirt often, so that is needed. I have just extra body care, stuff like that. A battery starter if I need it. This is my shower bag, so it has like my shampoo, conditioner, body scrub, all that good stuff in here. And then I have Ziploc bags, extra Q-tips that I need to find a home for. And then I have a lot of her stuff as well, so like dog brush, her little popsicle toys, extra dog bags, treats. Got some good old Canadian maple syrup, of course. And then under here is like meds, so you know, ibuprofen, aspirin, all that good stuff. I have my extra bear spray. Carry like sunscreen, bug spray. I have even some sunscreen for Naya because apparently her fur is thin enough for her to burn. Dog shampoo, and then Lysol wipes. And then most of this is just kind of overflow of food because I have run out of space to put it. So I have my extra drinks, sandwich bread, I have tea, and then local honey, mosquito repellent coils. It's a whole hodgepodge of things in here, so just quite the drawer. The drawers themselves go pretty much all the way back to where that hump normally is in the 4Runner, so definitely gives me a lot of space. And then the hinges are locking hinges and rated for holding about 300 pounds. So one thing I did mention was the hoses for my air compressor. So I do have my air compressor. It's an ARB twin compressor mounted under the hood, so that's been really convenient to have there as well, especially doing like the dumpster highway and hitting trails often, but then doing long pavement miles in between. It's really nice to be able to quickly air them up and down. But besides that, that is basically my whole setup tour. I did do an exterior tour of just kind of the modifications I did on the outside of the rig, and that is already posted on my YouTube. But if you have any questions or want any further in-depth details for any part of my setup, or have just questions in general for what it's like living on the road full time, especially out of a 4Runner, please leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer anything. So thanks for checking it out, and see you on the next one.